Today on Inquirer.
Inflation leaps to 14-year high of 8% in November. President Bongbong Marcos admits inflation in the Philippines is out of control, but says the country is on track to maintain a strong economic performance. GSIS vows transparency, investment protection in proposed Maharlika fund. And Taguig Regional Trial Court allows Vhong Navarro to post 1 million peso bail in connection with the rape charges filed by Denise Cornejo. Good evening. The Philippine inflation rate leaps to a 14-year high in November, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. To tell us more, here's Gina Mangaluz reporting live. Jean?
The Philippine inflation rate rocketed to a 14-year high of 8%, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. This puts more pressure on the central bank to stay on its monetary tightening path. This November increase was due to the rise of food and non-alcoholic beverages, which account for 58% of the overall price increase. According to the PSA,
ang paunahing dahilan ng mas mataas na antas ng inflation nitong Nobyembre 2022 kaysa noong nakaraang buwan ay ang mas mabilis na pagtaas ng presyo ng food and non-alcoholic beverages. Ito ay may 10.0% inflation at 58.4% share sa pagtaas ng pangkalahatang inflation sa bansa.
According to the PSA, this was the highest recorded inflation rate since November 2008. The country's average inflation rate since January 2022 now stands at 5.6%. Meanwhile, the inflation rate for November 2021 was at 3.7%. In a poll conducted by Reuters, economists initially forecast inflation to reach 7.8%, while the central bank predicted the figure to be at 7.4 to 8.2%. Last week, the International Monetary Fund nudged the Philippines to further tighten its monetary policy amid inflation measures. That's it from me, Neil. Back to you.
Jean, mukhang tipid-tipid muna ngayong Pasko, no? Sa taas ng presyo ng mga bilihin. Thank you, Jean. That's Jean Mangaluz reporting live. President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. said that the country is on track to maintain a strong economic performance, even as he admitted that inflation in the Philippines is, quote, running rampant and out of control. Marcos said the Philippine economy continues to recover from the negative impact of the COVID-19 pandemic and is on track to achieve the government's target of 6.5% to 7.5% for 2022. Among the indicators for this, Marcos said, is that the country's growth rate looks healthy. The Philippine peso has become a little stronger relative to the other currencies, and that unemployment rate is quite reasonable. Marcos said the government is already identifying the main drivers of the high inflation rate, including imported inflation.
The country is on track to maintain its strong economic performance and achieve the government's growth target of 6.5 to 7.5% for 2022. Unfortunately, although our growth rate looks healthy, our foreign exchange our peso has become a little stronger relative to the other currencies. Our unemployment rate is quite reasonable considering the situation. However, on the other side of that coin, there is still inflation that is running rampant and out of control. So, again, import substitution is still a good idea, not only for foreign exchange reserve, but also so that we can keep our inflation rate down.
The Taguig court has granted the motion of television host Vhong Navarro to post bail for his temporary liberty. Our justice reporter Tech Torres Tupas fills us in with the details. Tech?
Hi Neil. Actor and television host Ferdinand Vhong Navarro has already posted 1 million bail for his temporary liberty. With the posting of bail follows the release order from the Taguig court. Navarro is expected to be released anytime soon. The bail was for the case of rape filed by model Denise Cornejo, the court, through presiding judge Lorely Cruz Datahan, said it is not convinced that this time the presumption of guilt on Navarro's part. It cited the inconsistencies in the affidavits of complainant, which the court said is supposed to be the single most important issue in the case. Some of the issues released by the court include why was the January 22, 2014 rape incident was filed before the January 17 incident. The court said the prosecution failed to provide an explanation. The court also noted Cornell's particularly actions such as preening and giggling, which are, the court said, inconsistent to claims of trauma. She also claimed to have been subjected to force, threat, and intimidation, but the court mentioned of her testimony that stating that the actor has no weapon and has not been threatened or intimidated. Neil?
That's just one question. So with Vhong Navarro posting bail, we are expecting him to be released any moment now, right?
Yes. The release order has been served and it is now being processed.
Okay, thank you. That's our Justice reporter, Tech Torres Tupas, reporting live. The Government Service Insurance System, or the GSIS, assures that there will be transparency in the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund and that the investments made through it would be protected. GSIS President and General Manager Arnulfo Veloso's pronouncement came amid public concerns about the establishment of such a wealth fund, raising possible misuse of people's money. In a news release from the Office of the Press Secretary, Veloso explained that the proposed MIF calls for the formation of a Maharlika board that will manage the fund and ensure investments made will be secured. He also noted that whatever investments to be made are going to accrue to the members of the GSIS. As part of the safeguards, Veloso said there will be a representation from the private sector via the participation of independent directors, as well as congressional oversight and an auditing by the international accredited firm. Under House Bill number 6398, the government would mainly utilize funds from the government-owned and controlled corporations to create a pooled budget that the proposed Maharlika Investment Corporation will tap to make investments here and abroad. News organizations have asked the Senate to drop the term fake news from legislation, arguing that it's an oxymoron phrase, as false information cannot be considered as news. Verifile's founder Ellen Tordesillas raised such concern during the Senate hearing on Senate Bill number 1296, which seeks to outlaw the creation and dissemination of fake news. She said the use of the term fake news in the bill is a problem, noting that nothing false could be called a news. Gemma Mendoza, who heads Rappler's initiatives in addressing disinformation in the digital sphere, echoed Tordesillas' sentiment as she pointed out that the oxymoronic term has been more commonly used to push back against legitimate criticisms. Mendoza argued that there are other means to address disinformation which will not require it to be outlawed, such as bolstering media and information literacy initiatives. In the House of Representatives, a similar bill seeking to outlaw fake news has also been filed by several lawmakers. Almost 90% of adult Filipinos across all socioeconomic classes believe that fake news is a problem based on a survey conducted by Pulse Asia from September 17 to 21.
Hindi talaga pwedeng magamit yung word na fake news sa batas. Ano kasi yun laganap na ginagamit ngayon. Pero parang mahirap kasi yun yun ang gamitin mo sa batas. Kasi mahirap, walang definition yung fake news na tama. At saka nagiging ano kasi yan catch all phrase na paggalit ka sa tao na ayaw mo ng kanyang balita. Sabi mo, fake news yun. Parang ganun. So, medyo, pag dyan pa lang tayo magsimula, medyo mahirap na. Oxymoron po yun. Kasi pag sinabi mo kasi news, dapat totoo yun. Walang dapat, kasi pag hindi yun totoo, dapat chismis yun. So, diba? So, if it is news, then it isn't fake. And if it is false, then it cannot be news.
President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. directed the Philippine Statistics Authority to fast-track the printing of the digital version of the Philippine Identification System, ID. In a meeting with PSA officials and National Economic and Development Authority, Secretary Arsenio Balisacan, Marcos said the agency should print out the digital national IDs as much as we can. The Office of the Press Secretary said the printing capacity was discussed and issues were raised, including the late start of the flow of data and the volume of the data. For his part, PSA Undersecretary Dennis Mapa said it continues to work with the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas in further fast-tracking and boosting the volume of national ID production and the printing. Alamin natin ang mainit na balita sa mundo ng showbiz kasama si Irvin Santiago ng Bandera. Irvin.
Hi Neil at sa lahat ng mga kabandera natin all over the universe, ito na nga ang latest Bandera Chika. Follow-up ito sa ibinalita natin kahapon tungkol sa pakikipagkompetensya ng superstar na si Nora Honor sa negosyo ng kanyang anak na si Matet De Leon. Iniyakan at talagang ang sama-sama ng loob ni Matet nang malamang kinalaban ni Ate Guy ang kanyang gourmet, tinapa at tuyo business. Kaya naman ang feeling ng aktres, tinraidor siya ng sarili niyang ina. Bukod sa ipinost niya sa Instagram ay nag-live pa sa kanyang YouTube channel si Matet upang ilabas ang matinding sama ng loob na nararamdaman niya laban kay Nora. Nag-message raw ang superstar kay Matet na inakala niyang emergency kaya nag-alala raw siya agad pero natulala na lang siya na makita ang mga produktong ibinebenta nito na katulad ng sa kanya. Grabe raw ang naramdaman niya ng mga oras na yon. Parang hindi raw siya makahinga at namanhid ang katawan niya. Hindi raw talaga niya maintindihan kung anong gustong palabasin ni Ate Guy. Ayon kay Matet, umiyak na lang siya ng umiyak at nagsumbong sa kanyang mga kapatid. Ang sama-sama raw ng loob niya dahil ang feeling nga niya ay sinaksak siya sa likod ni Nora. Sabi pa ni Matet, grabe, ampon-ampon yung pakiramdam ko ngayon. Ang lakas makaampon ng ginawa nila. Ang lakas makaampon, damang-dama ko pagkaampon ko ngayon. Walang gagawa ng ganito sa anak nila. May mga nagkomento naman na sana'y magkaayos na sina Matet at Ate Guy, pero mukhang suko na rin ang aktres sa kakaintindi sa kanilang nanay. Sabi pa nga niya, hirap na hirap kaming magkakapatid. Hirap na hirap po kami. Ang ate ko, yung kuya ko, paulit-ulit na lang. Ang isa pang ikinasasama ng loob ni Matet ay ang katotohanan na kapag may ginawa raw si Ate Guy na sablay at pumalag sila, ang sasabihin ng mga tao ay wala silang kwenta. Para raw silang nakatali at binusalan na sinasampal-sampal pa ng mga netizens at sasabihang wala silang kwentang ampon. Wala pa ring inilalabas na official statement ang nag-iisang superstar at national artist hinggil sa mga revelasyon ng kanyang anak na si Matet. At yan ang Bandera Chika natin today. Thanks, Neil.
Salamat, Irvin. These are the stories you need to know today. I'm Neil Mercado. 19 days na lang, Pasko na. Follow INQUIRER.net on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Reddit. For more stories, visit INQUIRER.net. Good evening.